Good morning. This is Carrie Freeman, my left ear. Thank you for coming. And this is a liberal YouTube channel, and we're devoted to getting Kamala Harris and Tim Walz elected. So today is October 3rd, and October 3rd is the date that I began my left ear. It is my birthday. I did that on purpose because I wanted just to be kind of a celebratory day. And so I combined this. So happy anniversary and happy birthday to me. Petey's on the floor. I have invited him to come up here, and I hope he does. Hey, Pete, you want to come up here? I think he's going to come up. He kind of knows. This is video 227, and please subscribe. Check your subscription to make sure it hasn't been dropped, and like. That helps us, all of us who are on YouTube. So I'm starting off with runes because we had the debate, and I asked the runes straight up this morning, will Harris, Walz win the election? Just boom, right to it. So the first rune I got was the blank rune, which can be frustrating, but I see it as a positive thing. So blank is the end and blank is the beginning. And in this case, it would be the end of their former lives, because when you step into the presidency and the vice presidency, your life changes dramatically. And so when they win, this is a huge beginning, and then it goes from there. So this rune is a rune of total trust, and it is supposed to be taken as exciting evidence of their true destiny, which rises like the phoenix from the ashes of what is called fate. And I have felt that this is fated, this presidency coming up with Kamala and Tim Walz. I've told you a number of times that about 6 years ago, I told my brother, who is not with us anymore, I said, Kamala Harris, I really think she's going to be president. And so here it is. So I felt that fated piece of this for whatever reason that came to me. And by the way, recently, I would say last week in my car, I got information. This is just a side note. I wasn't planning on saying this, but I got a note that at some point, Pete Buttigieg is also going to be president. And he's young enough to do it and wait out some time. So anyway, the blank represents a symbolic death, and please hear symbolic. And you know, that's the symbolic death of Trump shrinking from our sights, just going away after having tantrums and trying to do more illegal things, to be honest with you. And it does say the forces are unseen, moving in the background for you. That would be for Kamala and Tim. And it says, just be in this blankness right now. And I think they are. They're just focused on work, what needs to be done. So Odin represents fertility, which comes up in this reading a lot, which an emptiness which can be filled up with bounty that they are creating right now. And the rune, the blank rune, is considered to represent the highest possibility of human endeavor. And that certainly wouldn't be Donald Trump, would it? Then I got strength. To that question, represents the wild ox, an animal known for its massive strength when put to good use. And when it appears, it communicates that one can count on sufficient strength to carry out all that is proposed. You get that? That's very positive. And it avoids subjugating or dominating others, which of course that is not their principle. That's Donald Trump's principle, dominating. But instead showing understanding and respect for others, and that is Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. It also means that they are experiencing a time of change, and I want to say no blank Sherlock. And they just need the courage and audacity to venture forward. It's time to commit. They are committed. It's very good. And then I got fertility. I got the rune of fertility, and it was mentioned in the beginning. Now it's coming back as the rune of fertility, which is new beginnings. It's akin to the moon. It's akin to the intuitive part of our nature with its urge towards harmonizing and adjusting, especially in the sphere of personal relationships. It embodies the need for sharing. But essentially, let me just say this. This is a rune that marks a time of joyful deliverance. It is a rune of great power. It says they have the strength to achieve completion or resolution, which opens up the new beginning. I forgot to mention something. The air conditioner's on today because there's people cutting trees out there, and you know how bad that sounds. Plus, it's going to be extra hot. The heat's coming back to California again. So I'm just trying to talk very kind of loudly. Petey, come here. Come here, boy. People want to see you. Well, he's licking his paws and he's thinking about it. Now I have something that happened to me 2 days ago. I'm still in physical therapy for the shoulder and the arm. It's winding up at the end of October. And so I have a physical therapy physician, and then I have an assistant, not my assistant, but the physical therapy assistant. And his name is Sarman. And Sarman, he will never see this, okay? He was born, he's Armenian, and he came here with his family. He still has an accent. He's very literate, he's very smart, and he's great at physical therapy. Now he just got back into college to get his master's in psychology because that's what he wants to do. He really wants to be a psychologist. So I have gotten along great with Sarman, and I just had my last session with him 3 days ago. And one thing that I may have mentioned to you before, when I go out into public or I engage, I really don't talk about politics. I don't want to invite that. I don't know who I'm talking to. So I don't run around telling everybody about my YouTube channel. I kind of keep it a little bit on the down low, and I'm collecting people anyway. So I want you to know that I've never gone into the rehab center and talked about my political beliefs, playing it safe. So Sarman is working with me 2 days ago, and he says, so what, after we finish our session, what are you going to do? And I said, oh, I'm going to get some food and I'm going to go home and watch the debate. And that would be the debate, of course, with the vice presidential debate. And he said, oh, and he said, he just sat back and he said, so what do you think? Now, he's never asked me that before. I didn't really want to go there, to be honest with you. So I said, well, I know who I'm voting for. I'm voting for Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and democracy. But I report back to my YouTube subscribers, and I'm watching tonight to, be informed and observe what these guys are going to do. And all of a sudden, my left ear kicked in, and I said, it said to me, ask Sarman if he's voting. So I asked Sarman, are you voting? And he sat back, folded his arms, and he was like, no. like emphatically no. And he said, I don't like either one of them. And I went, oh. And then I let him talk for a minute, and I realized he was wildly uninformed, didn't know about a lot of things, was talking about Biden having dementia. And I said, no, he really doesn't have dementia. He had a really bad debate night where he was not well and exhausted, and it looked really bad. It wasn't good for him. But no, he's very good at his job. He's doing this job, and the right thing happened. Kamala running is the right thing. Wasn't happy about it. And so I said, but I have to tell you something. He's elderly. He doesn't have to, that's propaganda that's been going on. And so this really bothered me. And it felt like my blood pressure spiked when he emphatically went, no, I don't like either one of them. I felt so offended and actually shocked because I thought he was smarter. So I continued working with him. I had more exercises to do. Part of me just wanted to grab my stuff and leave. That's how it hit me. But I stayed with the exercises, and we got to my last exercise, which is a pulley machine, and he's standing there. And I said, Sarman, I need to finish up that conversation since you brought it up to me and asked me. I just want you to think about something, all right? I'm not telling you what to do, but I just want you to think about something. One candidate is a felon, convicted felon, adjudicated rapist, a known sexual predator, and has bilked New York and out of a lot of money. He's a financial fraud. The other candidate has no criminal history, but has prosecuted a lot of criminals. And it's okay if you don't like Kamala Harris. It's really okay. But this year is different, Sarman, and you'd be voting for democracy. Otherwise, we're going to lose democracy. Kind of felt like I was talking Chinese, which I don't know Chinese, because he just shut down. So I left it alone. That was it. I said, I'm just dropping this in your bucket. That also was the last time I'm going to have a session with him. And frankly, I'm really glad, because this kind of ignorance, and then I'm thinking, okay, you're Armenian, you have an accent, you're bright, you're taking advantage of the United States, you're going to university, all the opportunities here, but you're not going to vote. And I feel like that's sinful. I would have done better if he said, I'm going to vote for Trump, honestly, but no, I'm not voting. It just did me in, to be honest with you. I was just shocked. That was my last session, and I was so relieved that it was my last session, because the weird thing is, I don't like him anymore. That's how strongly I feel. I don't like him anymore. So that's the story, because it happened a few days ago and I wanted to share it. I blew up my screen again, so now I can read it. So I'll say a few words about the debate. Really wasn't looking, I mean, when you know exactly who you're going to vote for, but I knew I had a responsibility, to talk about it a little bit here. So I had the TV on. I walked through the room because I had just gotten home from physical therapy, and I took a glance at Tim Walz, and I went, oh, he doesn't look very good right now. He looks a little like deer caught in headlights. But, and this is true, he started out a little wonky, and then he gained steam. Now, here's a piece where I was wrong. It really wasn't my left ear that told me this, but I thought, he's gonna pull out a moment of humor. He's gonna have like a great one-liner in his pocket, but he really didn't. He wasn't the Tim Walz, who was much more serious. And look at, we're talking about very serious things, but I think there's an experience of Walz that he's got a great sense of humor and he really delivers punchlines well, but he didn't bring that. And maybe it just wasn't possible. Maybe there just wasn't that moment. But this is what I noticed, okay? So I'm sharing this with you. It's much better to start out slow and end up with a bang than to start out with the bang and end slow. But no, he landed it. He made a touchdown at the end. JD is, they say, an experienced debater. I want to say he's an experienced liar. And he talked fast, and he created what I call a winding word salad of lies. I mean, I went, oh my God, this guy is just spitting this out. It is the fast. It was like, okay, that's where the debate, Slick Willie debate chops came in. But he was phony, trying to be something he's not. And the one thing that exposed him, well, two things exposed him. One was they fact checked him at one point, and he was like, you weren't supposed to do that, and all his persona was dropped. I was like, okay, that's the real JD Vance. His makeup was beautiful. His eyeliner was beautiful. I think when he loses, he could get a job with L'Oreal or Maybelline. That's an idea, right? I for some reason, I've never been like a big fan of the singer Sade. Is it Sade? Sade, I think. I know she's very, very popular, but she did a song called Smooth Operator, and it came to my mind that next time JD Vance makes an entrance, they should play her singing Smooth Operator, I think. And at the end, Tim is dancing around January 6th and who won the election, and Tim had the presence of mind just to say, no, let's just get this out there. Do you believe that Donald Trump lost the election? And he was taken back. You could hear, there was this moment, and he went, Tim, called him by his first name, not Governor, Tim, I'm just concerned about moving forward. And before he got that out of his mouth, Tim just said, that's a damning non-answer. Boom. Came at the end. Really, really great. Now, the publicity right now is registering that they're both kind of equal, and it was a toss-up, but Tim Walz's numbers came out very strong in the areas of trust and likability. I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all. So here's something fun. Kamala Harris just received a new Republican endorsement from former Arizona Senator Jeff Flake. And Jeff Flake left the Senate, but he was one of the first people to come out and say, Donald Trump is nuts, and I don't want to be around for this. So he was out of there really fast. And he wrote something really great. I'm going to read it to you. Jeff Flake wrote, I'm a conservative Republican who had the honor to serve my home state of Arizona in the United States House of Representatives and Senate for nearly 2 decades. I believe that America is a great country. I believe that our best days lie ahead. I want to support a candidate for president who believes the same. I believe that we don't have to agree on every issue or policy, but that we should use the political process created by our founders to debate and persuade, not disparage and demonize. He's a good writer. So for all these reasons, I'll be supporting Kamala Harris for president and Tim Walz for vice president. I would encourage all Republicans who feel the way I do to do the same. So putting country over party, that's basically what he said. And then I'm not going to read it to you, but Trump's, I don't know, press secretary or spokesperson or whatever came out and said, the fact that Jeff Flake took such a long time shows us what a weak candidate Kamala Harris is. They found a way to spin it. All right. And, you know, this is really ugly. I'm not going to go into it deeply because today's a day of celebration and this is going to go on. But Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, who's really evil, this is my headline, wants Texas women to die. Okay, that's my headline because that's how bad it is. So the headline is, a death rate surges as Texas, that's Ken Paxton, asks Supreme Court to let it keep denying care to pregnant women. So the state of Texas is asking their Supreme Court to allow to continue denying emergency medical care to pregnant women. And strangely, tragically, the request comes on the heels of a new report with statistics that shows the state's maternal mortality rate has spiked dramatically since the first ban. It's awful. And the Texas, between 2019 and 2022, the maternal death rate in Texas has surged to 56%. So they're willingly and openly okay with murdering women. I think what you're seeing on my face is just shock. It's astounding. What are we doing in this country? At some point, Texas is going to start to, there's going to be more, we'll get Colin Allred in there and there'll be a turning. All right, so the next set of runes is the question, will Jack Smith's, now as of 2 days ago, it said 165-page report on January 6th, all the stuff he knows now and is accumulated. It might be 180 pages. I'm not sure, but it's big and it's long. Will it be introduced, the details of this publicly in Chutkan's court in DC before the election? I think she's in DC. No, she's in DC. Okay. So I got really good runes on this. Harvest. Harvest is a rune of beneficial outcomes. It applies to any endeavor you are committed. Now it normally involves 1 year, but I think I know what that means, and I'll let you know in a minute. But it symbolizes the ever-returning cycles of life, fertility, etc., etc. It comes with hope and continuous movement. It represents new momentum, peace, and harmony. Because, like, truth. Let the truth out. The truth with evidence. My favorite word, evidence. I think the 1 year with Harvest has to do with when the actual trial will occur. That's my suspicion. Okay. Then I got fertility. These are great. I mean, they're just so fertility, new beginnings, intuitive. It's our urge towards harmonizing and adjusting. It embodies the need for sharing. And this rune marks a time of joyful deliverance. That would not be the case with Donald Trump. Joyful deliverance, meaning he gets to deliver this incredible thing that he wrote, challenging the Supreme Court. So it really looks good. And this will be astounding when these facts come out, because they're indisputable. They have all this, like I said, evidence. And Trump did things that you and I haven't even heard of. You know, it's just coming out now. But finally, at the end of fertility, it's saying you, and I'm going to say Jack Smith, has the strength to achieve completion or resolution, which opens up the new beginnings. It's really good news, right? All right, now we're coming. I'm going to Beverly Hills today to a favorite restaurant called La Scala. And La Scala, it's not like uber fancy, it's just really nice, has some red leather booths, but they make the most amazing chopped salads. Unbelievable. And I get fried mozzarella marinara. So I'm going with my caretaker who took care of me when I was disabled is in town visiting a sick friend, and we're gonna go to Beverly Hills and eat, okay? I wanted to, what's she doing? That's what I'm doing. You know what, I may pick Petey up so he can say hello to you. He's just married to the carpet right now and he's not coming up here. And you know what, I'm not gonna pay him if he doesn't start cooperating. Yeah, I'm talking about you. All right. I'm going to tell you a good evidence story. This was kind of like bad, and then it turned out good. I went to a store that has a private parking lot. I've been there many times. It's not a very convenient parking lot. And I went to pick up something. I came out to my car, and there were two really big trucks parked on either side of my car, and they were like parked so close. I could hardly get into my car without, you know, denting a door, but I didn't dent a door. So I crawled in, I got in, and I'm going, oh man, I'm gonna have to be really careful, backing out. So I slowly started to back out, and I heard a terrible sound, like a scraping metal. Stop the car, get out. And one of the trucks on my driver's side had their those giant tires totally pointed to the left and were blocking my parking lane, but I didn't know it. And the employee, security guard who was walking, he didn't even watch to make sure I pulled out, and he knows me. And like, why did you let this truck park with its giant wheels turned all the way there into my lane? And he had no personality. Well, the tires ripped off part of my front fender, and it was just hanging, and it couldn't be reattached. It wasn't dragging on the ground so I could get home. Was I upset? Yes, I was really upset and really angry. So I just said, okay, go home and do some meditation, blah, 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 blah. So the next day I got up and I did some research, and I found a body shop in my neighborhood that got 5 stars. So they said by appointment only on Saturdays, but I called and a man answered, and he said, yeah, bring it in. It's really close to my house. So I got over to the body shop. This incredibly nice man met me. He was maybe, I don't know, late 30s, early 40s, from a foreign country. I don't know where. His name is Hike, Hayke. But I saw it and I didn't, and he said, no, it's like take a hike. So it's like, his name was Hike. So he says, let me see. And he comes and he looks, and I told him what happened. He said, okay, would you let me drive around to the back of my shop and I'll have my guys reattach the fender. They can do this. They can reattach it so it doesn't fall. And I said, and he goes, and I'm not going to charge you. So he takes the car, goes around the block, brings it back in 10 minutes, and the fender is totally reattached and perfect. And he had them put like new, I don't know, connectors or something. He said, it's not gonna fall down. It's very secure. And I just said, I just couldn't thank him enough. So he gave me an estimate, because I do have a few dings on my car, like what it would be to clean up some of the scrapes and things. Not bad, but it's always bothered me. And I said, listen, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna write you a great Yelp review. And he said, oh, that would be so nice. And he said, it's not always about money. I like to help people. This guy really had a heart space. Like he was the real deal. It's really cool. And I wrote him the great Yelp review. But I didn't tell people that he did this for free, because I didn't think that would be good, because then everybody would go to him and expect free service. I just had good karma, and I think he felt bad for me. So I called the manager of the store, and he was clearly a young punk, and he was not interested, and I found him very insulting. So I wasn't very nice to him, and he blocked me from coming into the store ever again. I know it's hard to believe, but he did. And you know, when I get angry, I'm not pretty. I can really get angry, but I didn't yell or say anything. I just said, this is like crazy. You paying a security guard and he's not paying attention. Anyway, that happened. Hike saved me. That's my good evidence. And then as I finish up, I found something yesterday that, oh, this is fast. I have not seen this in years, but I have a resume that I'd written up at one time for all the volunteer and political stuff that I've done. Like right now I'm looking at a letter from the Hollywood Women's Political Committee that no longer exists. I'll tell you about them in a minute. On behalf of everyone here at the HWPC, we wanted to thank you for your help on your Women for a Change event. The evening was an incredible success. We raised $350,000 for 9 women candidates, blah, 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 blah. I didn't even realize I had kept these letters. So there's a bunch of letters, but also I said, oh my God, I did that. So let me just read you a couple of things, because it looks like I just showed up on YouTube and I thought this would be a fun idea, but I have a whole history of political work and volunteering. So the Hollywood Women's Political Committee, I worked on the Barbara Jordan annual Commitment to Courage dinner. It served Barbara Jordan one year, it honored Rosa Parks one year, it honored Marion Wright Edelman and the Children's Defense Fund one year. I worked on Women for Change dinner at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. That was produced by the Hollywood Women's Political Committee. I worked on Barbra Streisand's One Voice concert that would raise money for 6 Democratic senators. And it was done she had a compound in Malibu with 3 big houses that she had designed. It was magical. And she had it was like a horse ring, like a little horse stadium, but she turned it into a theatrical environment for the concert. And it was she did this concert outside. It was incredible. So that was called the One Voice concert. Every star in town was there. Look this way and it was Jack Nicholson. Look that way and it was somebody else. Really, and I had never seen her live, and I must say, quite the voice. I worked on an event for Barbara Boxer for the Senate. That was in Beverly Hills. I remember waiting around for it to begin, and a woman walked up with red hair, and it was Bonnie Raitt. And I just stood there and got to talk to Bonnie Raitt, because she was there to perform. Coolest woman, by the way, like you might guess, Bonnie Raitt. And she swore like a truck driver. And she was married at the time, and every time she swore, he'd go, Bonnie. I loved it. I worked on a thing for Geraldine Ferraro. I'm aging myself. California Democratic Party. I worked on all the comic relief events, which was to raise money for homeless people. So I was like, I looked at this yesterday, I went, oh my God, I did all that? I kind of forgot. And I thought, well, it's my birthday, I can do what I want. I'm gonna share it with you guys. So it was much more coming onto YouTube for the Democrats. It's much more, it's part of my history, except I'm not involved with the Hollywood Women's Political Committee. At that place, I had a boss, a really narcissistic boss, oh my God, but she paid really well. She was smart. So I stayed a long time because there were so many benefits to the job. But she was one of the founding members. And so by proxy, I was invited to work on a lot of these events. And I really feel very blessed that I got to do that, very proud. So this is what I'm doing now with you guys, 4 years now. It's a continuation. So that's that. I've got to upload this before I go and pick my friend up for our lunch. And maybe a glass of wine in the middle of the day. I hardly ever drink. All right, so I'm gonna go pick up Pete. I mean, you know, it's my birthday week. Okay, Pete, I'm gonna pick you up. And by the way, he's really good about being picked up. He's almost like a rag doll. And he feels me getting him and he just goes limp. Okay, whatever you wanna do with me, Mom. So I'm gonna pick him up right now, so hold on. Okay, Pete. Yeah, we're gonna pick you up. I'm gonna show you off. Oh, you are so heavy. He's like 22 pounds, my friends. There he is. There's our Petey. This is not his favorite thing, but okay, Pete. You gotta say hello to everybody. You gotta say hello to everybody. Come on, Petey. You see, he's just tolerating this. Mom, do we have to do this? But look it, he just never gives me a hard time. He never gives me a hard time. Hey, Pete, Mommy wake you up? He's such a beauty. Like I said, he thinks about 22 pounds now. So Pete, you wanna get on the desk? Okay. I appreciate that, sweetie. He's like shaking it off. All right, my friends, I'll see you soon. Listen, there was a lot more to talk about, but I wanted to get on today and celebrate our anniversary. And I wanted to say thank you. I think some of you have been with me since the very beginning. I so appreciate that. I'm so touched. I'm so touched by the letters and communications that I get. And as you can see, I really try to answer people as much as possible. I'm now getting closer to 9,000 subscribers, which is really cool, because I hovered like at 4,000 or 5,000 for a long time. Never, you know, I haven't had huge expectations that I'm going to be one of these incredible influencers. You never know. I have some fun things coming up, but again, I'll have to share with you when they manifest. So I'm taking on a new way of doing things, which is to not talk about what I'm doing, but to talk about what I've done. So when the results come in, you'll be the first to hear. Have a really good day, and here we go. We're going into the next year. We're going into the election, and I'll see you in a few days. I want to say, like, I really love you. I do. Thank you. Thank you.